Oh, nah. This is What's Up with Jim. Today we're here talking about making a difference in the community. I got four brothers here that do a great job in the community and making a difference in each other's lives as far as everybody out there. So I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves, and then after I introduce themselves, we'll jump right into our conversation. Okay.
My name is Bob Witt. I work for the city manager's office. I am a community engagement specialist, and part of my job is to convene the community, the police department, the city manager's office together in partnership and collaboration. So that's kind of what I do. It's a very unique position, and where I'm able to gather people from all different walks to kind of come together, just talk about resolving our community and how we can better facilitate things in our community.
My name is Roger Simmons. I work for an organization called Fox Valley Christian Action, where I'm a community coordinator here in Elgin. I work primarily with teens, youth that come from economically disadvantaged communities. A couple of things we do is that we teach them about faith in God. And second, that we teach them life skills, college and career prep. We do this every Monday night and also Thursday nights. We do home visits. We are getting into the schools. We're starting kids clubs after schools. So those are some of the things we do, along with also what we do throughout the summer months. We have camp for kids. Depending on the economic situation, we have week-long camp for kids from June to August. And yeah, so those are some of the things we do at Fox Valley Christian Action.
My name is Aaron Malone from Aurora, Illinois. I run a youth program called Teen Night. What we do is we do outreach to teens in the city of Aurora and the surrounding suburbs. We teach them the Word of God, and we teach them how to just learn to deal with everything that's going on in their lives. Most of them come from families that are in distress, and we're just trying to show them that God loves them.
Okay, so brothers, tell me, I probably use that every now and then. So, but tell me some of the things that why you do what you do for the community.
Good question. I part of what I do is to help, hopefully, just we're living in a kind of a day and time now, season where there's just a lot of different things going on with violence and injustice and those various things. And I think it's pretty much across the board in the sense of it's not one-sided all the time. And so one of the things I ended up doing, I kind of retired from doing church. I pastored for 20 years. Mm-hmm. And just when some of the shootings going way back beyond Trayvon Martin and other shootings leading up to Michael Brown and Laquan McDonald, just took a leap of faith to believe that, hey, maybe I could make a difference in having an opportunity to come on board and working for the police department, working for the city manager's office. And long story short, just some doors open, but I kind of took a leap of faith to retire from doing church to kind of see how I could make an influence in what I'm doing today. So that's kind of how I kind of connected with what I'm doing today, in hopes that my gifting, my abilities to convene people, that's something that I think I do pretty well in bringing people together to sit at the table, to have conversation, to resolve, to collaborate, to partnership, so that as we keep moving forward in the city, as things keep coming up, we've built and established relationships to work together.
I started because grew up in low income area and just thought that could make a difference. Was a gangbanger from 11 to 18. Somebody made a difference in my life to change where I was, so I decided to do the same thing for the youth that are coming up.
Oh wow, that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Good.
There's some real key there, Aaron, about just growing up in some of the communities, that the kids that you serve grew up in. I grew up in Clifford Court, which is Elgin Housing Authority. I think that Jericho Circle was like Aurora. I was an authority at that time.
Right, right.
You on the southwest side of Aurora. I'm on the northwest side of Elgin.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can resonate with some of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm a product of my community in terms of that. You know, many of the kids that I work with, you know, they have, I've gone through some of the very similar things that they've gone through. At least the root of it, coming out of a dysfunctional home, single parent mom, growing up under public assistance, growing in a community where everyone pretty much was in low income. So as I grew up, and what changed, the change in my life happened was when, of course, I gave my life to God, but also there was a pastor. I visited this church called Bethesda Church of God in Christ, and I grew up just a mom in the home. And my mother was the best mother that I could have. You know, I mean, I can never recall me asking or thinking, dreaming of having another mother. My mother was a good mother. She wasn't perfect, and I definitely wasn't a perfect son. But I never had really a father figure present in my home. I got a father. I have a father, but a present in my home. So when I got to church, this pastor here, Pastor James Marks, I met him in just our introduction. You know, he looked me in the eye, and it seemed like he had, you know, interest in me. And just instantly he became like this father figure in my life. And that just changed everything. You know what I mean? It changed everything in terms of my life, because he began to teach me about how to be a young man, how to be, you know, a gentleman, how to be respectful. He taught me good work ethics, and he modeled that as well. Not just, he just didn't lecture me, but he was an example of that. And that began to like bring about change in my life, and also academically, because at that time I was on the verge of dropping out of school. You know, my junior year in high school, right at the very beginning, I was about to go out of high school. I was about to drop out. I think that at that time I was only passing my PE class. All you gotta do is show up for PE. I mean, you just get dressed and show up, you know, and, you know, play basketball, whatever sport it had. I did that, you know. I probably was getting like a B in there. And all my other classes, I was pretty much about failing. So I was on my way out of school, and the next thing was going to be the streets. You know, the streets are always calling. The streets always will employ you. You know,
That's
so
true.
it doesn't mean that it's good work, but it's work. You know, so that was my way out. But anyways, so when God came in my life, and seeing the value of having a mentor, a man, a godly man figure in my life that took interest in me, and wasn't afraid to look me in the eye and tell me the truth, tell me when I was wrong at times, and able to pat me on the back, tell me when I was good, encourage me, and call out the best in me. You know what I mean? Call out the best in me, because at that time, growing up in the community we grew up in, we was heavily engaged in sports, and you know, everybody want to be the next Dr. J or Michael Jordan, something like that. And we know that one was very small. You know, not many people getting into the NBA. So I was thinking in terms of that, I'm just going to be the next, you know, basketball star or something like that. I never thought that there was much more to me. But when I got God in my life, I said, man, there's more to me than what I believe. I came to believe.
That's true.
So my life began to change. So as I began to serve these communities that I'm serving now, I reach into these kids. I'm trying to call out their potential, letting them know that in God, there's more that God has created you to be. You know what I mean? You know, you don't have to always just get your sight on being the next, you know, hip hop artist or the next, you know, basketball player. We don't need more hip hop artists. We need more basketball stars or football. We don't need more of those. We need more thinkers. We need more teachers. We need more businessmen. We need architects. We need more people in those arenas. And we have them. So I'm trying to challenge kids to think more deeply about themselves, of course, their relationship with God, but also that they're called to greatness.
That's true. That's true.
No,
that's it. That's it.
I think that's one of the hardest things for us to do is when we reach these kids. You know, I had a guy same way that used to chase me around the neighborhood, and I remember going, I am not going to your church. I am not doing what you're doing. But he believed in me. He came. I wrestled in high school, so he came to every wrestling match. And I'm like, dude, just because you come to wrestling match don't mean I'm going to your church. You come all day long. And I just remember him pouring, saying, God's got a plan for you. And I remember the day he stepped away and said, hey, I got to let you live because God told me to let you live this life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and when he stepped away, I remember going, no, don't do that. Don't do that. I went to his church the next week, though. But when he stepped away, I was like, Reverend Davis, you got to hang in there a little longer.
Yeah.
Bro. You know, but that's what I want to get out there. You know, these teens that I'm reaching, there's a better plan. There's a better plan than gangbanging. There's a better plan than,
Exactly.
than smoking weed. There's a better plan than getting high. There's a better thing out there.
Yeah.
You know, I know education is the key to a lot of it,
Most definitely.
but we have to be the ones that say, hey, here you go.
Right.
Here's your opportunity.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go.
I had both of my parents at home. My dad was an alcoholic,
Yeah.
and my mom didn't work. So it was like, hey, what he brought home, she was like, hey, you know, hey, it ain't enough. We ended up moving to the hood. I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Right.
The hood was better than we was living.
Right,
So I was like, it was
Right.
way better.
Right.
But
Right.
you know, you just look at it, and you, even though my dad wasn't, he was in the house, but he wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was all the people around the neighborhood, and how I got caught up is I could fight really well. So the bangers was like, hey, we ain't fighting him, we got to put him on our side.
Right.
So and that's how I got stuck there. And my
Yeah.
dad was like, you know, I bet not ever catch you in the game. Yeah, okay.
Right.
But on the level, I was
Right.
there. So
Exactly.
we just got to be able to reach
Yes.
and talk to them and show them. And we pour into them. For me, it's Christ. I pour into them Christ, and I taught Christ, and I show them the love of God. And a lot of these kids don't even see the love
Right.
that, you know, I mean, my next door neighbor, you know, my mom would call him over to eat breakfast, you know, and he'd come and eat breakfast at our house, but he had nobody to show him love.
Right.
He had nobody. And that's what I want to make sure that all the kids that come through our program receives love.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The cool thing about that, because we all have that story.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, we all have the story you talked about.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
And but one of the things that's cool is as what Brother Jim is doing with What's Up. When we talk about community, Aurora, Elgin, you know, where we serve at, the sweet thing about community is that it takes a community. You heard the old saying, it takes a village
Yeah, that's so
to
true.
raise up one.
Right.
That's true.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so it takes a community. You know, we all had various people in our lives beyond our extended family.
Right.
You know, we had various people in our lives that helped us to get to that place. You know, so it is about community
Yes.
in that sense of really having an influence. You know, in our lives.
Correct.
You know, so anyway.
Yeah. You know, the thing that too is it's good to hear you brothers to talk about that, because a lot of people don't really understand that how some, especially young people, I should say, they don't understand how you became who you are. They just think that you woke up some day like
bro.
that.
Yeah,
And
no.
they don't understand the struggles that you went through to get to where you at. And if you tell them the story that how you had to grow up and to become who you are and what struggles you went through, sometimes they're amazed at the things that they're doing. And sometimes they don't even, the struggles that they going through today, it's really not a struggle.
Exactly.
And and that's the hardest time. Sometimes
Exactly.
myself, when I deal with a lot of kids and I tell them that, they don't understand that what you're doing is really nothing.
Yeah.
And what the challenge you going through, that's really nothing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but a real challenge is you have to meet somebody that really had the struggle before.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot, and you know, I think that if we, as you were talking to Roger, I think that if we could sit the individuals down and really talk to them, get them to think a lot deeper about themselves, I think that they will push themselves a little harder
Yes.
and try to be something more than what they really
Yes.
could be.
Yes.
Because I totally believe, if you can do it once, you can do it all the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And there's no turning back. But you have to
Absolutely.
be willing to look forward and not turn your head and look back.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of times the kids, they're shamed because I done this time. Now John looking at me, whoa, I better not do that again, because now he not might accept me for who I am.
Right.
But you can't. They can't. You try to tell the kid, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Just move forward with that. You know, that's a good conversation going there.
Yeah.
So tell me, what do you guys think about when you hear the word underprivileged, and then sometimes people, you can see what that I don't know if they really are underprivileged or they taking advantage of the word underprivileged. They're taking advantage of that program because it's out there to provide those resources for people.
That's a good question.
I see it in my program. We see it all the time because we don't just go to low income areas.
Right.
We travel the whole city of Aurora is our grounds. So we see it a lot. We go and we talk to kids and we see what their house is like. We see what their family is like. And personally, I have one experience that I can share with you guys. That there was a lady who basically needed some food. She said she needed food, right? So we gave her $100. You know, my new to the ministry, I'm fired up. Yeah, we can help her. You know, ran over, gave her $100. Her kid never came back to the program because she never did what she was supposed to do with her.
Oh, wow.
You know, so you see the kid, and he's ashamed to be in the program because his mom just swindled you.
Right.
And you know better because you came from the hood.
Right.
You're like, this guy knew and I know better. I see them people every day, you know?
Exactly.
And you don't want the kid to be shamed. And
Right.
that's the biggest part.
Exactly.
For me, I
Yeah.
had to make sure that I reached out to him more times. Continue to reach out to him until he was like, okay, that's my mom's thing. That wasn't my thing, you know? And you see people that take advantage of programs, even when we handed out the food.
Right.
You know, the people that you give the bags to, you're looking at them and you're going, okay, and then they call their sister on the phone. Hey, girl, this dude is giving out free food, you know?
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, I'm going to give her one because,
Right.
you know, but I know that your sister didn't need it. You did.
Exactly.
But your sister didn't. But
Exactly.
it's a little overwhelming at times when you think about it. But you look back, you know, that kid that you just gave the food to, you look back and go, man, he really needed it.
Right.
The other one might not have needed it, but to make him feel better about giving him and his cousin some, all right, now he feels like he's on the even playing level.
Yeah.
So sometimes you got to make the sacrifice to do
Right.
that.
Exactly.
But it's tough.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. No, that's good. Bro, go for it.
That's really good what you shared, Aaron. I was thinking that, you know, you're dealing with the communities, and
Yeah.
community are made up of people.
Yes.
People who have names.
Yes.
People who comes from families.
Yes.
People who have dignity,
Yes.
worth, their value, their vocation. So I see people as people versus as labels.
Right.
We can label them. That's the low income people.
Yeah.
That's the poor folks.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can label people,
Yes.
and sometimes that's not very healthy. It doesn't
Right.
build. It doesn't help build a healthy relationship with them.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we are dealing with them based on how they label.
Exactly.
But when we deal with people as human beings, as people,
Yeah.
and we know their name,
Yes.
and we respect their dignity.
Yes.
And in terms of, like, I think like helping people, you know, it's easy to just, you know, give somebody something. You know,
Yeah.
they're in need, and you just, okay, I'm going to give you this, whatever. But I think that we can help empower them best when we give people a space to help themselves.
Yes.
Meaning that I'm going to come alongside
Right.
you
Right.
and be an assistant.
Right.
But I'm going to create enough space where you can do something for yourself, or you can participate
Yes.
in the solution to
Yeah.
your problem.
That's it. That's it.
Because if I just solve your whole problem, you didn't have to do anything,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it doesn't empower you.
No,
Right.
It
doesn't.
does not help you.
Yeah.
Right.
See what I mean? It makes you dependent.
Yes.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because if you make a person dependent upon you, then what it does, it creates a poor image.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's true.
It creates a poor image. If a person have a
Yes.
poor image of themselves,
Yes.
that's poverty at its best.
Right.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's deeper than the fact of a material, a
Yeah.
dollar, or a loaf
Right.
of bread, or a bag of food.
Yes.
It's how people see themselves.
Yes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Poverty is
Yeah.
more of a mental
Right.
state, spiritual thing than it is a physical thing.
Yeah.
So
Good.
trying to help people to understand that, you know, there's something that you can do. There's a decision that you can make
Yes.
to help you resolve your problem.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's how I'm doing. As I'm
Yeah.
working in
No,
people in
that's
the
good.
community,
Yeah.
Good
I'm
work.
learning.
Yeah.
I'm learning more how to help them,
Yeah.
how to come alongside them,
Yes.
and not just to make them dependent
Yes.
upon me. Because if
Yeah.
I do that, it creates a poor image.
Yeah.
You know, it's
That's
funny
a
you
good
say
word.
that because in working in the school, I always tell the kids, I said, "Here, let me make sure you understand one thing. You are in power
Correct.
Yes.
of everything
Yes.
as long as you go when you're in that classroom.
Yes.
But when you do something that you're not supposed to be doing, you lose that power. Now you give the control of that teacher.
Yes.
Yep.
Takes control of
Yeah.
your power.
Yeah.
So don't blame it on the teacher.
Right.
Yeah.
You lost your power. You had your power.
Yeah.
You had your power. Now your power gone because you
Yeah.
did what you weren't supposed to do. So
Yes.
if you stay on track, you in power all the time.
Yeah.
And you drain that teacher while she's in there.
Yeah.
And use all your power, that knowledge that you have
Correct.
to make sure she's teaching you, that he or she teaching you the right
Yeah.
way.
Yeah,
But
that's
you know,
good.
it's good that you touched on that because I say that every day to the kids, every day.
Yeah.
And I tell individuals that all the time. You have the power. It's just a matter of you lose that power
Yes.
when you're not doing what you're supposed
Yeah.
to. So
Which is interesting because just to tag team off of that,
Yes.
life and death is in the power of the tongue.
That's right.
Watch this.
Go ahead.
So when you say the word underprivileged,
yeah,
okay, what's happening in there's a system that's been created, talking about the identity. You
Right.
see, the identity of who we are. We're empowered. But what happens, we keep coming back with the word underprivileged
Right.
or under-resourced.
Under-resourced.
Okay, so I take that and say under. What we're doing or what's happening is we're keeping folks down. We're keeping them under.
Right.
We're keeping them down. Underprivileged.
Right.
Under-resourced. We're not building up. We're not speaking life to who they are as people.
right.
Okay, it shouldn't be. We working with these underprivileged folk over here. What is that?
Right.
Who is that? Oh, who's that? I don't know who that is. But there's a system in societies that's been created that our paradigm is a certain way.
Correct.
So that when I feel like, I give an example, we had a time where, we went down and got our food stamps. We got our block of cheese. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our peanut butter in the center can and the oil on top of it that thick. Okay? Our spam. Come on now. Come on. Somebody know what I'm talking about. Okay?
You got to
The
stir it
spam,
up.
you got to stir it up, man. And we weren't underprivileged.
No. Yeah.
We weren't.
Yeah.
My mom was doing the best she could at that time.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
She provided for her family.
Right.
Okay, but I don't know. What do you mean? You underprivileged? What do you mean? I'm
Right.
underprivileged?
Exactly.
Because that's not who I am.
Right.
Right.
I'm Bob Witt. Okay, I ain't this other stuff. So
Right.
it's unfortunate that there's in our world, in our society, in our government, we've created this paradigm of underprivileged. Well, we're keeping people down. We're keeping
Right.
them under. Keep them under the table. We don't want to rise them up.
Yeah.
We want to keep them down. So anyway, just to add to those
Right.
things, man,
Yeah.
that's just that word. What we speak out of our mouth,
Right.
again, life and death is in the power of the tongue. So if we're going to continue to speak under, then when you got these kids out there, that's who they think they are.
Right. Yeah, because they don't know any better.
don't know any better.
They don't know any better.
Because they're not
what
being
they've been-
empowered.
Exactly.
They
Exactly.
can't do any better.
Exactly.
Because I was underprivileged, so I can't do this.
Right.
I can't
That's
do
so
that.
true.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you're right.
True.
Right.
So true.
Exactly.
Right.
All right. How about let me ask you just let's talk a little bit about should people inspire to make a living, or should they inspire to make a difference?
It's a good question, man.
I aspire to make a difference. To make a living, it's just, for me, I worked at NYCWA for 25 years, before I retired not too long ago, and I still don't take any money from our youth program that we have now. I still don't take any money from it because I have my retirement, my pension's kicking in, so it's all good. but, I think if you are out there to make $1 off of people that need you, for me. If you're trying to make a dollar on people that need you, they're looking at it, it's your job.
Mhm.
You don't love me.
Right.
You get paid to do this.
Right.
And I make sure every kid that comes to our program, I don't get paid. I give up we meet Friday nights. I give up every single Friday for the last 22 years
Wow.
to meet with you.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't get paid for it.
Right.
I'm out even when I get off. When I was at work, I get off work. I go hustle some ways to get you here.
Wow.
Get you a bus. Do whatever we can to make sure you get here. It's not about making money for me. It's about showing the love
Right.
that they need.
Yes. That's
Wow.
good.
That's awesome,
Good
man.
word.
That's awesome.
Yeah, good word.
Yeah, you know, I think that it's, to me, it's really, really important to inspire to make a difference.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that I've based on my organization and my life itself is often is I think about how can I help somebody.
Yes.
It ain't about me no more.
Yes.
You know, I feel I was blessed, and God have gave me enough to survive on, and blessed me with a beautiful family, and took care of me when I was younger, and taught me, you know, how to help others as a long ago. And because I know, like we talked about, is that I struggled when I was younger too, and my mom bringing me up, and all my 10 brothers and sisters, and far as that go, and you know, we didn't live this beautiful life. You know, we wearing each other pants and eating oatmeal for dinner and lunch, and lights out sometimes, and lights are on. You know, but I think that one of the things that a lot of people don't understand is that making a dollar is not important all the time.
Right.
It's seeing the gratification that you put a smile on that kid's face
Right.
is more important.
Yes.
And that kid knowing that I can always go to him because he cares about me.
Right.
Yes.
And this guy loves me for who I am, not for what I'm not.
Yeah.
You know, and that's tough.
Yeah.
And it's tough for some people to accept that,
Yeah.
and they're still looking out for that dollar. Hey, well, how am I gonna make the next dollar off of John?
Right.
Or I'll make the next dollar off of Jim. You know, I don't think that people that run around and try to make dollars off other folks, and I think that's the most rudest thing that you can do to other individuals. You know, just me personally, I think that. But you know, some people do it, and I see them doing it. It's like your organization, the things you do, and the things you've done during your life. I do all it. I don't get anything for it. I do it because I want to help other people. And you know, and I had this discussion with somebody else before. I don't even live in Elgin. I'm not even from Elgin. So I do a lot for the community that I'm not even from.
Yes.
And I'm willing to help. And I do more than some people that are from here than they do.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's why when people ask me about Midwest Sports Academy, well, or do you only base your organization off of Elgin? No, we go wherever we want to go.
Right.
And I help people all over.
Right.
You know, that's why when I was introduced to you, Diggy Malone, he said, hey, this brother's doing something for the community. I'm going to jump on wagon with him and help as however I can. You know, that's why I reach out to the other communities.
Right.
I think that if we do that more and we inspire more to other people which is like us,
Yes.
we'll do more for the different communities too. But sometimes people want to leave it at the community that they're from instead of just reaching out and sharing the love more. So
Yeah, well, that's good. Legacy has no cost, has no price, and so it is making a difference. It's not about the money, because the money will run out. It's the legacy that will stand.
exactly.
You know, and as you, particularly you two brothers have been sharing, you know, you shared earlier about people that were in your life, you know, Pastor Marks, dear pastor, dear brother, folks in your life, and, you know, my life as well. But what happens is you're committed to the legacy. You're committed to the difference.
Right.
Why? Because somebody before you,
Right.
okay, helped you to get where you're at. So what you've done, in the spiritual sense, what you've done is you've tapped into the legacy that someone else has left, who wasn't about the money.
Right.
They weren't about the money. They were about making a difference. Pastor Mark made a difference in your life, brother.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
and didn't get paid for it.
No.
Mama made a difference in your life, didn't get paid for it. You see what I'm saying? So there's a legacy that's been established, and you can't put money on legacy.
No.
You know, and what happens is, so now we've been kind of given that mantle to carry from those that have built into us. And what happens today is the young people that come behind us, they're our ceiling of what we're doing is their floor.
Right.
You see?
Right.
So now they're walking on top of what we've established. So, but it's not about money.
No.
It's not about money. It's about making a difference. You know, the legacy is making a difference. So there's no price on legacy.
That's powerful. I was piggyback on what you all had said, that I thought about the scripture that says that it's more blessed to give than to receive.
See, exactly.
You know, it's more blessed to give to receive. It's something about when we give, not expecting to receive anything
That's right.
back
Right.
That's right.
in terms of, you know, money and materialistic things. When you give in with that attitude, that motive, that perspective, that it does something good for you. It's
Yes.
good for your soul.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I mean, giving is just good for your soul. It's good
Absolutely.
for your well-being.
Yes.
And I think that a person who always want to take, you know what I mean, I'm going to give, but I want to take something.
That's it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think that even that in itself is poverty.
Yes. Yes.
You know what I mean?
It's a good word.
You know, we serve a God who is generous.
Yes.
He's a generous Father.
Yes.
And that we ought to reflect Him,
That's
reflect
right.
His likeness.
That's right.
And one of the things that He does is that He gives.
Yes.
He's a giver.
Giver, that's it.
Right.
So we give, and we give not expecting you to give back,
Right.
because in it does something good for my soul.
Yes.
Right.
You know, I thought about some of the things that I've done over my years that I was a volunteer. I've done it, I served. You know, many people didn't see it. I've done some things behind closed doors and just served a family or someone in need or whatever.
Right.
Right.
And I walked away from that experience feeling so good inside.
Right.
Been broke. I've done a lot of things broke.
Budget is
You know
big
what I'm
word.
saying? No. This is what I'm saying here. There's been a time I had $400 worth of gift cards in my pocket to give out to family,
Exactly.
and I was broke.
Exactly.
But I went home, I felt good in my soul
Yes,
Right.
yes,
to
yes.
serve.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
See what I mean? So
Yeah.
what I felt, it override the fact that I didn't have much money or whatever. It just
Right.
done so well for my soul.
Yeah.
So I
That's a good word.
concur with
That's-
everything.
Yeah, that's awesome, brother.
That's a good word.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Them cities right now.
Oh, that's so awesome. So tell me, what is one of the biggest obstacles you ever have overcome so far in your life?
Wow. That's a
Which one?
Early in your life.
Yeah, just any obstacle you had to overcome. In
Well, I
your
think
life.
the biggest obstacle to get to what I'm doing now that I overcame was being in the game. I think that was huge for me. I share this story with a lot of people. Riverwoods or Christian Action. I was LIT there, a young guy going through there, hanging out and just doing some stupid stuff. Even while I was there, they were trying to teach you the Word of God.